Aha. Ahoy, welcome everyone. Welcome on the event, on the Rise and Shine event, I Have a Dream. I am right now broadcasting from Liberec, but this event is called I Have a Dream Munich because all our speakers are connected to Munich somehow. And also our Rise and Shine leader, Pavel. So online are also Rise and Shine team, Pavel and Ren and others. And if you are here with us, please write some comment. I suggest you can write into comments where are you from, where are you sitting right now, which location, country, city, and you can say what kind of drink you have right now at your right or left hand, ready for drinking. So I have here a nice cup of coffee. So what do you have? Give me a comment to know that you are hearing all of I am saying and you are ready for our speaker. No comments yet?
Hello, Vojta. So at the beginning, I could share what I have here.
Nice, nice. Hi, Zuzana. I see you. I see too, Zuzana. Eliška, what do you have?
I have just water, a bottle of water.
Just water. Nice. I see Josephine has water. Zdeněk. Zdeněk only hi. Okay. Česká Třebová, Prague, Vršovice, Liberec and coffee. Prague and water. Anybody else? So we are 5, 6. So we can wait for a few more minutes for the others to join, but we have last minute. So next thing, we are broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube, so you can choose whatever you want. If is it better for you Facebook, use Facebook. If you want YouTube and you like it more, you can watch us on YouTube. If you miss any part of the speaker, any part of the event, don't worry. The link will be later available on the Facebook page of Rise and Shine, and immediately when we finish, also on the Facebook event where you applied and where you set up that you are going to this event. As I said, you can comment in the StreamYard application, and we can slowly move. Before I introduce Eliška, don't worry and don't leave too early, because when we will have the last speaker and he will finish, we will have the networking. So you can join us for the networking for a few minutes, hours, or late or more, if you will. And now is the time to start for Eliška. So Eliška is an ecological activist, let's say. She is very interested in very cool topic, which is eco-village, which is kind of sustainable village. I don't know much about it, so I hope Eliška will explain everything what I need to move in the next week to some eco-village among Europe. And I think we should start. There is not much time, so I will not talk longer. And welcome Eliška Šestáková, who will take you to eco-villages in Europe, at least. Eliška?
Hello, Vojta. Thank you for your kind welcome, and also to Rise and Shine for inviting me here for this event. I am actually right now sitting in Italy, but last year till the beginning of this year, I lived in Germany in some German eco-villages, and that I was asked to talk about here. So let's move to my presentation, which I just named "What is life like in an eco-village?" Because I got some questions about it. At the beginning, how I got to that topic or to that place, I was very lucky 2 years ago to get some funding from Deutsche Bundesstiftung Umwelt, which is one of the biggest environmental foundation in Europe. And they supported my project to do some research in German eco-villages. And I also connected with the Global Eco-Village Network, which is an international network connecting international communities and eco-villages. And they have their own branches in Europe and in Asia, in Africa. And then, of course, like on national level, there is a Global Eco-Village Network in Germany, in Spain, and France, etc. Other networks. So I connect with the Global Eco-Village Network in Germany. And then that's how I, in very short introduction, go to the topic of eco-villages. So very quickly, what is it, an eco-village? It's a very broad topic, but it doesn't mean that you just move to like some rural place and you cut from all the technological inventions what the society have. That doesn't mean that. But as you already said, Vojta, it's something where the people try to live more ecologically and environmentally friendly. But it also means not just in the ecological part towards the nature, towards the trees and plants and water and soil, but also towards other people living within such a community or also outside the community, so also on the social level. And also within those people, on the cultural level, they are respecting differences between the different cultures. So they are usually also very international. They have a different type of people, maybe even different religion or different way of celebrating events. And also they try to be sustainable on the economical part of the living. So they create jobs or financial options to produce money for themselves or to be just financially sustainable. So eco-villages are very broad topic and they are like all the time constantly evolving. So I already wouldn't know the eco-village where I lived last year because many new people come or some left and it's all the time evolving. So it's very hard to like describe one eco-village because it's all the time changing. And it also doesn't mean that it has to be in a rural place. It can also be like in our urban settlement, which can have different structures or different buildings, or maybe they don't produce so much of their own food, but on the other hand, they have better opportunities for the financial options, like to have a better job involvement and better technological solution. So let's have a look how it's Europe doing on the topic of eco-villages. So of course, there are many eco-villages, thousands and thousands of eco-villages all over the world. And this global eco-village network is connecting them somehow on some level. But there are also many eco-villages or communities who doesn't wish to be connected. And actually, they just value their privacy. So they wouldn't share their position, or maybe they are not inviting people so much to come there. So they wouldn't possibly, they would probably not be on their, on this map of the Global Eco-Village Network, for example. And if we zoom a little bit closer to see the situation in Germany and Czech Republic, we can see that there are quite some eco-villages in Germany and quite none in the Czech Republic, which is true. So that's why I decided to also go to Germany to discover this topic and to bring potentially the experience back to Czech Republic and, let's say, improve the networking and improve the knowledge of the people who would potentially don't have an option like me to go to live to some eco-village. So that also were also the goals of that project, which I did. And if we just zoom exactly on Germany, we can see the German eco-villages which are involved in the Global Eco-Village Network. And these two on the right, which are named, are those two where I lived last year in eco-village Okodorf, Siebenlinden, in the north of Germany. I lived last year 7 months, and in the eco village Ochodor nature community, very close to Czech Republic border. In Bayern, I lived 4 months last winter. And yeah, the very important point of this slide is also that those communities actually, even in the industrialized country such as Germany, they are one of those communities which have the lowest emissions per person living in such a place. So let's have a look on the Siebenlinden Eco Village. It's over 20 years old, and there live over 150 people. Some of them, of course, are children. Some of them are, of course, retired and older people, but it's very variable. And their main topics on which they focus is organizing educational events, like for workshops, seminars, conferences, and they invite 100 people per year for many variable events. And they focus a lot on ecological buildings, which we will see a little bit later in my presentation. And they produce sustainable. They have their own production of the food, so they produce about 60% of their own food, which they focus on cooking vegetarian and vegan and organic. And the other stuff they, of course, buy all together, and they are choosing, again, organic and fair trade products if they can, or also from the region, not far away if it's possible. And then they have also like their own forest kindergarten and some other sustainable businesses. How it looks from the top. At the beginning, there was just field and forest when that came, so it's a very rural place. And now it's about 80 hectares, of which they have 8 hectares like buildings, which are about 12 big houses and about 50 little trailers on wheels, which they can move in need. So that's how they started. They actually started with caravans and structures like this to live in it. And then the rest, like 20 hectares of fields, and for 35 it's forest. And the main important point is that all of this, all the lands and the buildings are owned by the cooperative in which all the people who live there permanently are members of. So everything is owned together. Some of the buildings, as I already mentioned, they are focusing on ecological buildings. So they use straw bales for insulating wood and clay, and they say, according to their knowledge, that they have the largest density of various straw houses in the world. And they try to be as low or passive energy to have those buildings. So they use lots of solar panels, they use wood for heating, and the earth or ground energy. So the self-sufficiency of those buildings is 70 to 100%. And they also sometimes use some funding, like subsidy from, for example, European Union now. As I mentioned, they have many trailers on the wheels like this, so they can even have like very nice gardens, or they can be with 2 floors, and they always really try to respect the nature around themselves and also other people. Here we can see some of the outside structures, like the main meeting point or the outside oven. They also have some yurts. And the building here with the solar panels is the main building, the community building. I have to drink too much talking.
Take a drink, and we can slowly finish the presentation and take the questions after.
Oh, just more to show the pictures of some buildings and how it looks inside. Oh, I mentioned the culture. So it's also about celebrating together, like weddings, or also here when people were leaving, or of course when somebody dies. That's also very connected together when living in the community. And just very quickly about the second eco village, which is on the other hand very young. It's just 5 years old, and there live about 50 people. And they also focus on sustainable life, and they are fully vegan. This is very close to a town, so it's not that very rural place. And they have like 3 big buildings and several little structures like bungalows, where they have also like some workshops and chapel. And it's actually a former hotel. So they are trying to move those buildings to being more sustainable. And this is the production of the food. So as I mentioned, they are the first eco-village. They are very self-sustainable with using all the technical instruments which they need. Oh, this is quite long to explain, but if somebody is interested, they will find out what does it mean. So how decisions in eco-villages are made. They are often using sociocracy, which is very nice option. So I recommend to people to find out more about sociocracy. Just more pictures from the gardens. Permaculture, of course, is used, and some of the food always is seasonal according to what they harvest from the garden. And as I mentioned, they focus usually on being vegetarian or vegan in the way to be more sustainably friendly. And there is some storage of the food. So the storage is all common to have all together. And just quickly to explain that they don't use toilets to flush with water. They use dry toilets, and also they are cleaning the water. They used only biodegradable cosmetic, so then the water again can be used in the circle again on the garden to water. And I already mentioned the ecological footprint in eco-villages is much lower. So there was some scientific research on the eco-village Siebenlinden, which showed that they have 27 of the German average person in the Siebenlinden, according to that research. And we don't think about topics like military or roads, which are like for everybody paid from the taxes. And one of the last topics is why eco-villages, why to have them? I think one of the good questions is that we are already using now so many resources. So in the eco-villages is the way how to do it, how to use less with more people together. So then the financial needs are also lower. So for that, to find out for everybody their own footprint, I recommend to Google any footprint calculator and find out. So the eco-villages are actually very nice models of which aspects can be used in our lives to improve, or on the other hand, lower our footprint. Yeah, that's about it. My presentation is at the end. So just like some little picture from the community, that they are really like from kids to older retired people. And what is needed in an eco-village, I would definitely say, is an open mind and being open to personal growth, personal development. So then we are back at the Rise and Shine to be able to grow and like live with a big community. That's all very connected. So thank you for your time, and that I would expect any questions which you have to me, Vojta.
Thank you very much. Very interesting topic and a very nice presentation with a lot of numbers, but still quite easy to read and easy to hear. So we have 3 questions in the chat. Pavel is asking if the eco-village could be similar to kibbutz in Israel. Do you know?
Yes, I know. Hi, Pavel. Thank you for the question. I actually met a person who was thinking about moving to Siebenlinden, and before he lived for, I don't know how long, maybe years, in some kibbutz in Israel. So he actually started living in Germany, found a German lady, and they were thinking about moving there. So what would be similar, like same? I think in kibbutzes, they are much more sharing all the finances. So the eco-villages in Europe, it depends how much they share all the funds together. In Siebenlinden, they share like the amount for the land and the buildings, but the private job, if you have your own, that's your own financing. You don't share all your funds, which I think is one of the biggest difference with the kibbutz in Israel. I'm not sure if I answered that question, but I hope that's towards my knowledge. But I wasn't in Israel or any kibbutz.
It's nice because I think you can talk more, like for another 3 hours, but we don't have so much time. So I think it's enough. There is a question from Zuzana, and that was also my question. If I want to go to Eco Village right now, next week, to try it, what I have to do? Do I have to register somewhere, or how I find even the Eco Village around me, or how can I do it?
For the beginning, I would say it would not be the best timing now to go for Christmas, because it's more like a family time. So also in the Eco Villages, it's more like community. They also like value the privacy. So like any time in the year, of course, it's very good to announce them in advance that you're coming. If you're interested in some event or just to look around, you can come. It depends. Many eco villages have like more public space and some private space. Usually they have it well described. There is like little notice, like, please, this is private area, don't enter here unless you are invited. So registering, like every eco village have their own website. So there I would find for more information to just contact them that you are planning to come. Eco villages usually have some information desk or information email where you can exactly like this ask. And to start, it would be GEN, Global Eco Village Network website, where you can search per country, per places which are in that network. There are other networks.
Okay, I think we can find and share this link in the comment section, Pavel, if you can. And there is the third question: how difficult, in your opinion, would it be to found an eco village in Czech?
To find, or to
establish, like to start.
To establish. Actually, there is very new eco village being established right now, the last couple months, because last year, or actually 2-3 years ago, there was a community in Czech being built by a group of people, very activist people around Prague, but all over Czech or even South Slovak. And we are in contact for some time. We are sharing information or even some knowledge and networking, which is very productive. And actually, they were looking for place last year, and they found a place close to Karlovy Vary in a former village, which was after the war, like the German population was forced to leave, so that village was like disappeared. So now that's a new community, which is called Země, which is zemnesouznení.cz website. They founded an eco village, let's say, but it's definitely lots of time, lots of talking, many meetings, lots of paperwork as well, because the legal framework is very important. So, and definitely you need like group of people who are really into giving the time and see like the vision very similarly. So it's not anything easy, and it cannot be done by one person. You always need a group of people, a community. So that would be place to start and have a look on Země. I think they are on a very good way, but like still lots of work to do. So it's still at the beginning. They just bought the place. So yeah.
Okay, thank you for the answer, and hopefully it will be possible, as you are saying, and it will be not so hard to find such a nice system to live together. Maybe there will be some new law, and maybe when there will be more people trying, maybe the people will hear and understand like what is needed to do to make it more simple.
We have many people in Czech Republic who are very into this idea, and we have many people who love nature or who are gardening and producing their own food. So definitely Czech Republic have lots of potential, I think, and it's a good way.
Okay, we have another question from Jana. Are there some other profitable activities that people do in the village for taking care of themselves to survive, or how they survive? So do they have a job and they work for the village, or is it different for each other?
It's very different for every person. Can be very variable. There can be people who are already retired, obviously, or some mothers on mother leave, so they don't need like private like their own jobs. There can be people who are employed within the eco-village, that's right, like a cook or gardener or the carpenter who is building the house. They are paid by the cooperative, by the eco-village, but also they need from outside, exactly, to get profit from outside. So many of those events like conferences and workshops are paid, of course, so that when guests come, they pay some for housing and food, and also for the program. They are organizing lots of like daily events like yoga, or they have the kindergarten or schools. So even people or families from outside are bringing their kids to be in that forest garden or democratic schools. They often have some alternative way of education for the kids, or they organize lots of art events, or it's very variable. There can be an entrepreneur, maybe an architect who has his own atelier in the eco-village, but of course to go and see the place, you need to go away and then see the place, and then of course back in the eco-village design the house. Or it can be a carpenter who is also working sometimes in the eco-village, but takes some projects outside. So maybe he goes for 2 weeks out of the eco-village, work, get some money, and go back, and then it's again two weeks back in the eco-village. Or there can be a lady who is taking care about older people, and she's going every day in the region and visiting retired older people who need maybe some social help, some medical help. She's like a nurse to go inside the houses of the people in the villages, in the vicinity of the eco-village. So it's very variable. The financial options are very broad, but a nice starting point for German eco-villagers, I would say, is that Germany have its own federal national volunteer program, that you can be officially volunteer of the Germany, and then you can join a non-profit organization, which can be, for example, the eco-village cooperative, and you can work with them, for example, organize the conferences and be there for the guests, or help in the kitchen or in the garden or in the kindergarten, and be paid officially by the German government as an official volunteer, have a status as a national volunteer, and then like you have the basic needs covered, and that's for I think 1 year or 1.5 year maximum. So that's a good start point for those people who newly move in and maybe they don't know yet the place and cannot like immediately establish, of course, like a job. So this is good starting point for new eco-villagers in Germany. Yeah.
So my additional question would be: do you think it's possible to have an I don't know, some ordinary work, like I don't know, work full of technology and at the same time live in the eco-village, like to travel?
In the time of internet, of course, we are very lucky to have internet. So definitely many remote jobs are possible. Online, or if you have in the vicinity, there are people, of course, coming to the towns when they need, maybe not every day, but many times per week or month they go. But to go every day, then you have to consider your own footprint for your car, or of course there are sharing cars, so that's much better than every person privately use his own car to go every day anyway. So it's very variable. Yeah, but also it's possible like to be leaving every day, because when people move in, they cannot like immediately cut their current job. Maybe it takes some time, or there are students going to school as well, so to university or high school students, so they are also commuting every day. So yes, it's possible. It just very depends on the place, on the location, how you manage to be creative with it. Yeah.
Okay. And we are going slowly to the finish. So I don't see more questions. I see only that Marketa is saying hi. I don't know if you know which Marketa.
Yes. Okay. Hi, Marketa.
Maybe Marketa could have some question. I have one more question. How did you find this, and why you are so active in this topic?
I was thinking about this question. I think it was growing slowly in my mind, this idea, because I studied, pardon, I studied garden and landscape planning as my university study. And for my Erasmus, I went to study for 1 year to Vienna in Austria. So there I got more into the international information field around the landscape and like sustainable topics. And also for my master thesis, I choose to do a community garden project. So I think around this time I had to get to know that there are some eco-villages, and also in Germany that they are quite many, and they are quite sustainable and successful. So that's, I think, how I got to the knowledge that I would like to find out more about this topic, and that's how I got to it, I think.
Okay. Any more questions from others? We have time for last question.
1 more minute.
1 more minute. 60 seconds. 59, 58. Or Eliška, you can say, okay, let's give you last 40 seconds. You can say whatever you want, and then we will finish and make a short break.
Yeah, then I would like to mention that there are other networks which can be close to the topic of eco-villages or intentional communities who try to be more sustainable or connecting, even like eco farms, which can be, for example, found on WWOOFing, which is World of Organic Farming, where you can find, or Permaculture Association, or the Gaia University, or Transit, which is more about communities, also urban communities, or Ecolis, that's European network for community-led initiatives. So what I mentioned is just like very tiny part of the broad spectrum. It's many topics and initiatives who are touching to this topic. So it's like just very easy, or like to get lost in so many information, or so. But the Global Eco-Village Network, I would say, is like a good starting point, and they connect to many of these which I mentioned and many others. And in other countries, they have more Camp Hill, Colibris, Camp Hill more in the United Kingdom, Colibris more as well, or in France, and etc. Yeah, so many more networks where are possible to find communities like this. Yeah.
Okay. Pavel told me we have some 3-4 more minutes because we have then a short video, which is too short to fill all the break. So let's use it. There is another question from Jana. Do you plan to live there again in the future, in the eco-village?
In the concrete German eco-villages where I so far lived, I visited there again this year, at the beginning of the year when it was still possible. So that was great to visit after a couple of months. But as I said, it's changing a lot. It's evolving. People are moving, or they get married or get different jobs. So it's amazing to be a little bit part of it. But on the other hand, I cannot imagine to live fully just in German. So as those German eco-villages were speaking only German, and it's like my third language, which for like being able to really communicate well, I would need to work much more on my German. But I can imagine, for example, that this Czech eco-village could be on the similar level like has it been Linden in 20, 30 years. So why not? Who knows? I am definitely going to support them and share all my knowledge I have. So I could live in some other eco-villages for sure. I can imagine that. Yes.
That's interesting. Why in 20 years do you think the Czech village will be on the same level?
Well, to build those buildings, of course, take some time.
Okay.
The community can get much closer together, but there is no building right now. So to have 80 hectares and to have 15 buildings, it's not like you can do 2 buildings per year, maybe later, but not now. So that's why I said so long. But hopefully, of course, they manage sooner. Let's hold the fingers crossed.
And for this, I have another question. So imagine that there are, I don't know, 4 or 5 families who live close together in some city or village or whatever. Could they like use the principles? Yes. And be close to the principle of the eco-village while they don't have their own eco-village, but they can behave like in similar way? Is it possible to find somewhere the principles and some notes or some rules or some like help how to do it?
Online. I am not sure if there are like some example like networks like this global eco-village network, but I am sure there are I don't know, initiatives like this, what you just mentioned, just group of families, I don't know, maybe shopping together and then using much less plastic containers or sharing together the price for buying, I don't know, fair trade, which is usually more expensive, but if you buy bigger amount, then it's cheaper and you use less plastic trash or other trash and less transport is needed. So all those aspects can be used, or they can share cars together, or they can have one garage together where they can be repairing, or I don't know, bicycles and cars and whatever they need to, but they can own it together because you don't need these things every day. So why not to share it with somebody? Yeah.
Okay.
Those things exist, and I think eco-villages could be a good point to get the good example from where to like inspire.
Okay, I think the last question I can answer because Eliška, Janmika is asking if there is if eco-villages are only for young people or there are more generations. You presented in the presentation that normally there are living more generations, like all the range of people. So maybe Janmika was not here on the first minutes. And last question. Sorry.
I could add like 1-2 sentences to that question.
Yeah,
that
let's go.
Of course, like younger people, let's say who are in their early 20s, they are usually going out to travel or study or start their job out of the world. So those are usually missing in the eco-villages, except all the others. They are young kids, young families, and other like mid-age people and like older people. They are all there, but the early 20s people, they are missing. So usually they are subsiding this age generation, which they are inviting like volunteers, international volunteers or national volunteers in this age group. So then I would say no age group is usually missing, or they are not focusing on some older age group.
Got it. So thank you, Eliška. Thank you all who asked any question. We have to finish now. So thank you very much for your time, for your initiative, and hopefully we will see each other again sometime. And maybe you can share with Pavel where we can meet you, or if somebody is interested, and we can later put it on the in the Facebook event or in the Facebook group. So now we have here a short video and short break. So we have 5 minutes video, which you can watch or you can take it as a break. There are 2 people who live their dreams. Both are active in the helping to our environment, and one is even a winner of the Nobel Prize for Peace. So Pavel, please start the video, play the video, and we have 5 minutes. In 6:45 we will be back with next speaker, who will be Stefan.
Milí diváci, za dobrovolnický spolek Respon jsme si pro vás připravili 2 příběhy lidí, kteří nás mohou inspirovat. Lidí, kteří si šli za svým snem a zasloužili se o zlepšení životního prostředí. Změnit naši společnost tak, aby žila udržitelně, se zdá těžší než výšlap na Olympiaberg nad Mnichovem. Někteří odhodlaní jednotlivci ale ukazují, že překážky dovedeme překonat. A když se takové věci povedly jednou, určitě se povedou znovu a mnozí budou na tyto úspěchy navazovat. Wangari Maathayová se narodila na apríla roku 1940 ve vesnici Ihití v Keni, tehdy ještě britské kolonii. Díky programu spojenému se jménem Johna F. Kennedyho se jí v roce 1960 dostalo možnosti studovat v USA. Věnovala se biologii, chemii a němčině. Obor veterinární anatomie ji později přivedl do Německa, kde studovala mimo jiné na LMU v Mnichově. Roku 1971 jako první východoafričanka získala doktorát a narodila se jí dcera 2 roky po svatbě. Maathayová přednášela anatomii na univerzitě v Nairobi, prosazovala rovné příležitosti pro ženy a angažovala se v různých organizacích. Uvědomila si, že za většinou problémů v Keni stojí poškozování životního prostředí. Napadlo ji, že založí firmu, která bude sázet stromy a nabídne tak práci nezaměstnaným. Projekt skončil neúspěchem, zejména kvůli nedostatečnému financování. Maathayová však v roce 1977 získala podporu Národního odboru žen v Keni a vytvořila hnutí zeleného pásu Green Belt Movement. Tato nezisková organizace působí dodnes a sází stromy, aby pečovala o životní prostředí a čelila chudobě na venkově. Maathayová zdůrazňovala důležitost akceschopných komunit. Všichni musíme tvrdě pracovat, abychom dosáhli změny v našem okolí, krajích a zemích a na celém světě. To znamená zajistit, že tvrdě pracujeme, spolupracujeme s ostatními a zlepšujeme se jako hybatelé změny. Ačkoliv Maathayová procházela různými těžkostmi, aby finančně zajistila své děti a stala se taky nepohodlnou pro místní vládu, hnutí Green Belt získalo dotace ze zahraničí a rozšířilo se do dalších afrických zemí. Dodnes se hnutí zasloužilo o vysázení více než 51 milionu stromů a více než 30 000 žen se vyučilo v lesnictví, zpracování jídla a včelařství a dalších řemeslech, aby získali příjem a zároveň chránili přírodní zdroje. V roce 2004 byla Wangari Maathayové udělena Nobelova cena míru. Indický právník Afroz Shah se zabýval trochu jiným tématem. Roku 2015 začal čistit bombajskou pláž Versova, která byla zavalená plasty. Prvních 6 až 8 týdnů na to musel stačit Shah sám. Od té doby se k němu vždycky o víkendu přidávali další a další dobrovolníci, kteří se o projektu často dozvídali ze sociálních sítí. V roce 2018 se přesunuli na další pláž a do jiných oblastí v Indii. Shah úklidu věnoval víc než 200 víkendů a podnítil víc než 200 000 dobrovolníků, aby se zapojili. Hnutí v Bombaji už do minulého roku vyčistilo víc než 30 000 tun především plastového odpadu z bombajských pláží a vodních kanálů. Na Versova Beach byly dokonce spatřeny ohrožené druhy želvy. Shah taky učil vesničany a lidi ze slamů zacházet udržitelněji s odpadem. Wangari Maathaj i Afroz Shah se nám Evropanům mohou zdát vzdálení a může být pro nás těžké si dobře představit každodenní situaci v jejich zemích. Znamená to však, že jsou Evropě vzdálené i otázky životního prostředí a že můžeme být pyšní na náš přístup k udržitelnosti? Rozhodně ne. K udržitelnému a odpovědnému žití máme daleko. Právě proto i my potřebujeme osobnosti, které kráčejí za svým snem. Snem, jak zajistit kvalitní život lidem, co přijdou po nás. Děkujeme za zhlédnutí. Dobrovolnický spolek Respon vám přeje podnětný zbytek večera.
Again, welcome on the online event from Rise and Shine, which is called I Have a Dream Munich. We have here 3 speakers who are connected to Munich, and now we are basically, we have ready the second speaker, who is Stefan.
Hi.
Hi, Stefan. Hi, Stefan. I will make a very short introduction because, we have 30 minutes, that's not much time. So Stefan will have very short introduction presentation about his work and about what he's doing. And basically I can say he's aerospace engineer who worked with drones, now is working as the avionics architecture or architecture designer or developer. And hopefully, because I am very keen to see it, and I am from the same field originally, so I'm also interested in this lecture, Stefan, and hopefully we will have enough time to answer all the questions. So please, if you have, put your questions into comment section, and we will answer all your questions after the presentation of Stefan. And when we will have the third speaker finished, we will continue on networking via application Zoom. You need camera for that, and this link will be shared in the end. So please, Stefan, tell us what's your dream and how did you make it?
Right. So first of all, I'd like to thank the organizer of Rise and Shine of this event for giving me this chance of presenting myself, giving insights about my career, and to hopefully try to maybe inspire new young students or young professionals in their field of expertise. Right. So basically, I started my career 6 years ago in Romania. I work at the beginning as a maintenance engineer for the Romanian police department there. And now I worked also. Meanwhile, I worked for Airbus for 8 months as a requirements engineer. I was handling the requirements and doing some certifications, airworthiness certification topics, and designing new architectures for some of their new helicopters. Right. So let's go a little bit ahead with my presentation. So from my education, I did, as I said, I started the Technical Military Academy in Romania. I did there my bachelor thesis. I was a military student. And during my studies also, I had the possibility to do an Erasmus scholarship. I was basically elaborating my bachelor thesis in Barcelona at Universitat de Catalunya, developing a software that will have simulate an autopilot for a quadcopter. So that was a very interesting experience for me. So I will definitely encourage all the students that still has the possibility to do an Erasmus scholarship to do it, because that could really help your perspective about your career and inspire you furthermore and allowing you to have other dreams, other career dreams. Then I did also in Romania while I also started to work as a military engineer, and I was very fortunate that after 1.5 years after I started my job, they allowed me to do another internship, this time for my master, and I chose also Barcelona because I liked very much that city. But this time I was doing a research scholarship, so the research Erasmus scholarship, and I was working during that period for a Catalan startup called hned. They were designing some drones back then to use in the Saharan locust, in the Saharan desert against the Saharan locust. So that was also a very interesting project that I was very proud to be part of. They were pretty pleased with my activity. And yeah, at the end of that project, they proposed me to remain there. They even wanted to provide me a PhD scholarship from the Spanish state part. But due to the fact that I was a military engineer and I had a contract with the Romanian state for at least 10 years, I couldn't follow their proposal, even though I liked that very much. So after my studies, I continued my job, my first job as a maintenance engineer. So during my maintenance engineer years, I work on helicopters like that one from the picture. That's Mi-17. It's a Russian helicopter. We also had, as I previously said, or the police department has some Airbus helicopters. And working as a maintenance engineer was a very interesting job, but nevertheless pretty difficult, because as a maintenance engineer, you have to check all the maintenance tasks performed by the technical teams that are under your surveillance. And at the end of the technical work that are done for a helicopter, you have to sign everything and to certify that everything was done correctly. And that's quite a huge responsibility. Basically, you are responsible if everything happens during a flight and you are, for instance, I'm an avionics engineer. So if everything happens with radio systems, with the transponder, with other avionics systems, I'm the one that has to respond in the end. But the cool thing was that I was able to also perform some flights. Was very nice to fly in a helicopter. Was an experience that I don't think I'll have now the chance to enjoy it or to experience it anymore, because I'm not a military engineer anymore. But yeah, nevertheless, it was very interesting to fly above mountains, and yeah, quite cool, I would say. So I was pretty fortunate with this job, but again, it was a pretty difficult job. So then, yeah, these are some pictures. Here I was, as a military engineer, already doing some exams, because you have to do medical exams and also theoretical exams periodically. And this is a picture from the hangar. This is my team at the end of working difficult week. You can see that we are pretty relaxed here. The guys are starting to make jokes. These dudes are already changed their clothes. Yeah, so there were some nice times also. After 4 years there, I decided to follow a career in aerospace abroad. So I started to apply for jobs abroad, and I was accepted by Altran, that has some projects at that time with Airbus. For me, working for Airbus was a dream, and it still is. Because I was providing maintenance services for Airbus helicopters, and then I had the chance to work directly for Airbus. So that was something big for me. And here, this is my team for Airbus. All these guys from this picture are engineers, and this is the picture that they took for us at the company's event at the end of the year, at the beginning of this year, before Corona. Yeah, happier moments. So yeah, basically, starting with September 2019 until May 2020, I work as an avionics architect engineer for Airbus. It's the abbreviation for software and new design department. So I had the chance to work with some pretty smart engineers for Airbus. I had the possibility to learn a lot from them in terms of designing new electrical architecture. I had the tasks, for instance, at some point to design a new electrical connection for a camera that they wanted to add at the anti-torque rotor, the rotor at the end of the helicopter, and the pilot could see the image on his flight display during the flight to see that everything is all right. So yeah, that was also a pretty interesting experience for me. But sadly, at the end of May, due to the Corona crisis and the financial crisis that now all the aeronautical industry is facing it, they canceled our collaboration, and then Altran founded another projects for me. There were projects more related to it, managing different tasks and evaluating other projects. I'm quite happy now that I just won another project in Altran, but I might change the industry. So I might work now for the automotive industry, performing some tasks related with as a function owner for another client from the automotive industry. I can't yet develop the name of the client because it's still confidential. But yeah, I'm pretty excited that now I'll have the chance to switch industries. Ever since I was a student, Formula One, for instance, as a car competition was very interesting for me, and I was watching the competition more or less being interested by the new technical updates that the team brought for their cars, because basically Formula One, it's the pinnacle of the motorsports, and basically when they design those very fast cars, they apply the same aerodynamical principles that they are using when the other companies design aeronautical aircrafts, but they apply the same aeronautical principles in trying to get the reverse effect. For instance, when an aircraft is take off, that vehicle has to generate lift, and at the same time, Formula One car, especially in the fast corners, it has to generate downforce to stay as close to the ground as possible, enabling them to be quite stable during fast corners. So yeah, my passion for cars, for racing cars, comes from here, and now that I will have the chance to work for a client from the automotive industry, it's quite a challenge, and I hope I will do a good job there. Okay, so let's moving forward. Yeah, because in the last slide I was mentioned the V model. So basically, the V model is the way in which an activity of developing new aircrafts or new products is splitted, and I was working in these two fields: requirements and architecture, and system verification and validation. So I had to analyze all the requirements coming from all the requirements that they were defined by the authorities before the aircraft was before the helicopter started to be produced. I had to analyze and to validate these requirements, and then to design new architecture. I had to forward my work to my boss. They were my bosses. They were also analyzing my work, and then at the end, I had to here in the system verification and validation section, I had to check if they agreed with my work, or I have to redo everything again. This clarification is just for the audience to understand better how the V model design is working. In my case, it was for an aeronautical company, but the same principles could be applied also in the automotive industry for a car designer company. Right. So I was thinking that could be quite useful for someone to receive career tips, for someone who has started his career or it's about to start his career. So basically, if you are trying to do another career, or like in my case, I tried to change my career to start working for a private company, you should first elaborate your catchy CV. And by catchy, I mean not a very common CV in which you are stating all your studies, work, and so on. Because I want to provide some insights, and also because I also try to apply it for other jobs, I know now that usually a recruiter needs only 3 to 10 seconds to read a CV, So as a recruiter, an HR specialist or whatever, he has already seen thousands maybe of CVs. So the one that really stands out are the one that are done in a more interesting way. Of course, your CV should also contain the basic informations like the ones that could be useful for the job you applied. So this could be also, this is the first step that someone should follow when it wants to start a career for a private company. Then you should research your future employer. I mean, you should go to forums, try to read about it, try to understand how your employer is working, try to understand if it's a serious employer or not. This will be the second step that you should do in order to get a good job. Then prepare yourself for the interviews. Try to foresee what questions might arise. Try to summarize your work in a very few statements, but some statements that could contain the essence of what you did before. Try to do your best at the interview. Assuming that you get to have the interview, try to do your best, remain positive, and in the end, negotiate your salary based on your skills, experience, and market salary level. Yeah, you should also. This depends on the recruitment phase in which you are. Sometimes maybe it's better to state from the beginning what salary you are looking for, because from what I've learned from other colleagues, when they have too high expectations salary, then they could follow all these steps before, and then at the last step to be rejected, and that could be really frustrating, and you could really lose some time. Now, if someone would be interested to follow an aeronautical career or an engineering career, I could recommend you to follow some EASA licensing courses. B1, this is for the guys responsible for the fuselage and all the hardcore compounds, and then B2 part 66 is for the specialists coming from the electrical side. I know that there are also some companies in the Czech Republic also that can provide this type of trainings. So if you are really looking for something into that, you should do a research on your own, and you can find more information on the EASA website following this link. EASA is the European authority that regulates how the flight should be performed, and what an engineer should know, and what the technician should be capable of doing. And then if you are really interested in my field of expertise, you can have a better insight of the fields if you are maybe reading these books about safety, airworthiness, the standards that are used in aeronautical fields right now for designing hardware and software, requirements for new type of aircrafts. And these requirements are also are also applicable in case of drones. Maybe you have heard there are so many companies that now they try to develop their products for instance, provide in the future flying taxi like Uber of the sky. These are a few German companies that are trying to do this, but they have to follow now a very strict process of getting their products to be certificated, and it's not that easy because flying drones above cities, it's still very complicated at this level, and it will be a tremendous work to have their product certified. But nevertheless, they are pretty optimistic about that. It is a field of the future, and who knows, probably in 6 or 7 years from now, you can use a drone to travel from one end to another, from in one big city like Berlin, or in states, New York, and so on. And then if you are interested in following coding career, there are so many sites like Udemy, Pluralsight, Code Academy, Coursera, and so on. You can have here so many courses. Some of them are free courses. For instance, I started to do a course on machine learning because this is a very interesting topic for the future also. And there is a course on Coursera on machine learning, quite good, provided by Stanford University. So if you like to, you have graduated the university, or you are passionate about coding, maybe you could take a look on this site in order to enhance your skills. And then everything that's related with engineering, especially in Germany, usually uses modular products. The guys from MathWorks were pretty kind to provide me 2.5 2.5 months of free trials. I get to try all their products like Simulink, MATLAB, Stateflow, and yeah, these products usage is very popular, as I said, in all the engineering fields. So definitely to have some MATLAB knowledge could help you to get a better job, and also to be part of a very interesting project, like for instance, to design an autopilot system for a drone. You have the possibility to simulate all the blocks in Simulink, and basically the bigger companies are usually using these products.
Okay, Stefan, maybe we can shortly go to end of your presentation and start with questions, if you like.
Yeah, sure. This is my final slide. So yeah, if there are questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, yeah, you could do your more time. That was only a small note that we can go on, and maybe there are more interesting questions from the people who are listening. I can sign all of what you said. I have been on Erasmus myself, and also recommend to everybody to use it. And also what you said about MATLAB, yeah, that's correct. We also learn it in the engineering at the university, and it's used in many various companies. And one side information for people who like drones: there is a very nice, very cool, and very new company in Prague building industrial drones, which are like 3 meters long.
Oh,
it's like only 5 years old, maybe. So also in Czech there are possibilities, and despite the fact we are a small country, we have quite many small companies that produce equipments for big companies like Airbus, Boeing, or Sikorsky. So yes, it's possible even in Czech. So we have first two questions.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and thank you for the presentation, Stefan. It was very, very detailed. We jumped to the second, whatever. Where do you see the advantages of the machine learning for the aircraft industry?
Okay, so first I would like to apologize for my emotions. It was my first occasion to publicly speaking about my career, so I had some emotions. Some things didn't quite work well as I expected. But now let's go to Jiří's question. Right. So for instance, machine learning could be used in the future, and they already started to using this. Airbus is already starting to use machine learning for their Airbus City, their new full autonomous drone. It could be used in allowing the drone, or the drone basically, to learn to fly by itself, to learn the flying maneuvers, like hovering, staying at a certain point and remaining there, or perhaps to follow a certain route that programmer could insert in the drone system, and then apply some detect and avoid algorithms. For instance, could be some areas in a city that should be avoided, and then the drone applying machine learning techniques and machine learning procedure know by itself to bypass those zones. Yes, and this is one example. And then again, machine learning could be used in the landing system, to allowing the drone to perform on a full autonomous landing, safe landing, receiving all the informations from the sensors, and then starting to interpret them, like the speed, how much they should adjust, the system should adjust the speed in order to allow the machine to have a safe landing.
Okay, we have thank you. Understand. I hope Jiří, who put the question, also got it and it's answered.
Okay.
Slightly before, Ren was asking that it's very long, but basically she's saying that she heard that in Airbus are very nice and kind people. How is it possible in such a big company, which is kind of like corporate? And what changes during Corona? Do you know something about it?
Well, yeah, but basically Airbus it's a big company, and the Corona crisis forced them to have so many big financial losses, So they started to adjust their budget and to prioritize their projects. For instance, this project of the future Airbus City had been put on hold in order to allow their personnel to focus on the project that they already have running, like developing and manufacturing helicopters. The things are not good right now in the whole aeronautical company, and Airbus as Boeing as aircraft supplier, you know, aircrafts has they had stood on the ground for such a long period now. So basically these companies, a large part of their revenues come from the maintenance services that they provide to different countries, to different governments. When the aircraft don't fly, well, they don't receive, they can't perform their services, they can't be paid for what they know to do, they can't provide maintenance, they can't manufacture new types of helicopters or planes. And yeah, I think that you already know that the aeronautical company has took a really big hit due to the corona crisis.
And what about the first part of the question, that how the big corporate like Airbus like keep on a good atmosphere and like kindness between the people?
Well, this is something related more with the manager, with someone who has to coordinate the activity of a department. And usually they use for those roles people with big experience, that they worked with people for several times, they have experience, they trained them to interact good with people. For instance, our manager for Airbus used to organize from time to time bowling evenings or football evenings, something like that, obviously before Corona, because after that everything has been changed. We are living basically now in another world.
Got it. I have one question from me. I know that there is one big problem in the technology companies. Like if you grow as a specialist, like you, a Linux engineer or some other, many times happen that you are basically like promoted to the manager position, even if you don't have, you know, the soft skills and the skill for leading the people. So do you know how the companies in aerospace industry like cope with this issue?
They can push you sometimes to managing functions, but yeah, that's depend on you. That depends on how you interact with your bosses. Depends on your performances also. For instance, I had the possibility to meet another manager, top manager for Airbus, because they had this project. Renew the age of Airbus, because the majority of their employees are pretty old, quite close to the retirement age. And we were having a friendly discussion, and he told me, you know, here at Airbus Helicopters, we are not selling so many helicopters like we used to do, and now the managers have a pretty difficult task in trying to managing everything and adjust. And this is one of the reasons why the big companies, also in aeronautical industry, but in car producing industries as well, started to work with subcontracting companies. You know, because it's pretty easy to hire 10 or 5 persons for one project that will last 1 year, and then it's not your business anymore. Of course, they have to pay commissions and they have to pay more for that period of time, but in doing that, they don't have to have a permanent employee. You know, so they know that this project will last 1 year. We can afford this budget for this project. Okay, let's leave the subcontracting company to do it for us.
Thank you. Do we have any more question? We don't have yet anything in the comments. So maybe one from me. You know, Stefan, once for all. Can helicopter without working engines, you know, not take off, land on the ground safely?
Well, that's a very debatable topic. I mean, there are yes, for older helicopters with not so many technical systems, this procedure is called auto rotation. When one engine started you have a fire on one of the engines, then you should slightly decrease the speed of the main rotor and try to find a safety place for landing. Is something very risky. It's something that doesn't happen quite often, and usually it happens perfectly in the movies. But there are some Red Bull pilots that they're doing aeronautical stunts. They managed to perform some really good auto-rotation maneuvers, and they wrecked the helicopter while landing, but they managed to keep them alive and safe. So it's possible to do it, yes, but it's a very difficult maneuver, and you need pilots with a very big level of experience, and also lucky pilots.
Nice. So what's your next dream?
Well, I'm really looking forward to start my career in automotive industry, to work for a big client of my employer, and I would like to design an interface there for the car, to do some really cool features in for that car. To maybe being able to, at some point in the future, if not for my current project, if I remain in the automotive industry, maybe to start implement some of the systems, technical systems that they use nowadays in Formula One. For instance, the control augmentation system that Mercedes is using this year in Formula One is the system that allows the driver, by pushing the wheel while driving, to change the angle of the front wheels, and by doing that, the car could become more stable in the corners. And of course, they are doing that in Formula One because they are taking corners at a very high speed. But for instance, in our daily life, could be useful as a drivers to be able to do that on a very icy road.
Understand. Okay, Stefan, I have to say that we don't have much more time. Basically, 1 second. That's one.
Okay.
And so now it's the time to thank you for your presentation, for answers. And if you like, you can join our networking or stay with us for the next speaker. Might be interested for you because it's about software engineering in the technologies. So might be interesting for you. And we will start networking around 8. So it's up to you. If you 8:15, sorry, 8:15. So
okay.
If you like, you can join.
Yeah,
and
I will.
Thank you for your presentation, and good luck for your dream to build equipment for a Formula One car. Enjoy and good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much for your advice, and thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to view the next presentation.
Thank you. Bye. A teď, sorry, in English, of course. Now we have 10 minutes break. We should have had 10 minutes break. So let's keep it 8 minutes, and or let's say we will start 19:27 to keep the timing correct. Okay, so 7 minutes break, 19:27, 7:27, 7:27. Great, we start again, and our next speaker will be Tomáš Burda. Tak, ahoj, welcome back. We are here with Tomáš already.
Hi.
Ahoj.
Ahoj.
We had short break, so hello, welcome again to online event I Have a Dream from Munich. We are broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. If you missed a part, or if you didn't have enough time to see some speaker, or you have to leave earlier, don't worry, the record will be available after on the Facebook page of Rise and Shine in the video section and on the Facebook event. And of course, when you have questions, and we need questions for Tomáš, because there will be very short introduction and more time for questions. Write your questions into the comment section on the application StreamYard, and I will put the question or say the question, repeat in English, or even if you write it in Czech. And later, in the end, about 8:15, we will continue with networking on the platform Zoom, and the link will be posted in the chat by the Rise and Shine team, so you can join us and continue with us for some more minutes. So now let's introduce Tomáš. Tomáš tried to find his dream when he moved from Czech to Germany to study. Before the Erasmus was cool, because it was not even working yet. So that's very interesting experience. And Tomáš will say something more about his life and his experience from Germany and from other locations. So Tomáš, it's yours.
Thank you, Walter. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation. I would be very happy if I could contribute with some useful hints and lessons learned regarding working and studying in abroad from my challenging journey, so to say. A short introduction of myself. I was born in Zlín in Eastern Moravia. My first study I finished in 1986 at the Technical University in Ostrava. That was the subject of economics with a special focus on the IT and automation. And in 1987, I started to work in Olomouc in food industry. Actually, there's something at that time the younger generation obviously doesn't know, or is difficult to understand it. During the socialist regime, it was really very restricted to travel in abroad, especially towards West. It was almost impossible to come out. Yeah? And that's why there was a dream of many people actually to come out, to get know new countries, to get new experiences, if it was in the personal life or in the professional life. So in 1989, when the Velvet Revolution arrived, then opened quite new opportunities. And at that moment, I decided to go to Germany and study at the prestigious Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich, the subjects strategic management and controlling. Already during the study, I worked for the IT and consulting companies, mostly in the context of the business with Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia at the time. And after graduation in 1996, I started to work for one IT and management consulting company directly in Munich. And with this company, I got assignments all over Germany, as well as in Switzerland, Austria. But the most time of this 5 years stay at this company I spent in China, surprisingly, on 3 or 4 projects in a row for the customer Siemens. If somebody would tell me 5 years ago that I would stay for such a long time in China, I would call him crazy. But it was the opportunity to go there, and I could build up some network in China. And finally, I got a very interesting offer to build up a new group in area of the software development and consulting within of the corporate technology division in Beijing for Siemens, which was serving to the business units of Siemens in China and in other countries. So within of this job, I had opportunity to learn a lot. I had to do the strategy planning, hiring of the people, development of the people, then the creation of the offerings which were adjusted to the local market, acquisition of the projects and project management. So it was very, very challenging, but very interesting time. In addition to, we had a lot of connections to the external environment. We had very interesting cooperations with the top-notch universities from Beijing, Tsinghua and Beijing University, as well in Shanghai. And last but not least, we had a lot of collaborations with local government, where we established a couple of labs in cooperation with them. After more than 10 years in China, I decided then for family reasons to return back to Europe. And because corporate technology has headquarters in Munich, so I got a very interesting assignment within of the UX design research group, where I'm at the moment coordinating the UX activities in future-oriented technology areas. So, I mean, in the summary, this part of my dream definitely went true. I was able to get known many countries, many cultures. I was working for one of the best companies in my eyes, Siemens, working on the newest technologies and basically developing myself in continuous steps. So this is basically to my introduction and introduction of my journey.
Slyšíme se?
Yeah, I can.
Nebo je to jenom u mě?
I can hear you, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry. Maybe that was only on my side. Please continue.
That was actually I was finishing the introduction.
Okay, nice. I got few seconds freezed monitor, so now it's better.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for your introduction, Tomáš. Very, very interesting years and very interesting part of life, I would say. We have first question from Pavel. If you could describe some, what are the differences between Czech and Germany after the Velvet Revolution? So, and maybe why? Like, what do you think? Why is it so different?
The differences in which area?
Maybe your experience. You know how you think, what you see as different, or your experience. We might not be so much political, you know. So keep it like from your eyes, very simple.
Understand. I mean, regarding the study at that time, that was quite big difference in the whole organization and in the expectations towards the students. So in Czech, the education, even on the university level, was more like the secondary school. You came to the university area and you got all the subjects you need to do. You had all the things which you need to fulfill to get at the end the diploma. And in Germany, there was very much depending on you, on your activities, on your motivation. So the curriculum you had to put together by yourself, more or less. In the basic studium, that was comparable to the bachelor. It was a little bit more of the mandatory. There were more mandatory subjects, but then later it was fully up to you how to tailor your study to the end according to your interests. Regarding the environment and the behaviors, I mean, Germans are relatively similar to our culture. The cultures are not so different. However, they are very much tending to stick to certain processes and very well structured. So this is definitely something which is compared to Czech approach a little bit more stiff, or it was more stiff compared to, for example, to China. It was very big difference because there was everything, any work around was very normal there. So the differences in the behaviors were not that big. Therefore, if you were able to communicate well, to speak the language, then you didn't have big problems in the school area to network, to talk to the people, and so on. In the external environment, it was certainly a little bit more difficult to go through, to show you what you can. And I mean, the foreigners in any country has it a little bit more difficult than the citizens of these countries.
Okay. And what do you think? So you said that Germans are a little bit more like stick to the processes. So if Czechs are not, could you say that we might overcome problems which Germans are not able to overcome because we are more creative and more, more creative?
I would say it in the following way. We are able to react a little bit faster with the workarounds. Yeah. So this I think is definitely more flexible approach which we are going. That's the differences can be also described in another areas, like if you say individualism, the kind how you are following your own interests. That is, for example, in Germany higher than in Czech, and comparison in China China is in this respect completely in a different area. Yeah? And another difference is kind of power distance. It means how you accept the hierarchies. This is something which in Germany is not so strong. As a boss in Germany, you should have a kind of good communication with the people, listen to the people, and involve them much more than is necessary, for example, in Czech, where the hierarchy is much more respected, or, for example, in China, where the hierarchy is a law, so to say. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting question from Anna. Can you speak Chinese?
My Chinese is good enough for the daily life. For the job, it was actually not easy to exercise, because the company language is English, and it was, as a head of the department, it was in my genuine interest that the people exercised English and not spoke their own English language, because I mean, as a consultant, the people from our department needed to go to the customers. The customers were very often the Germans, or the bosses were the Germans. So the good English was quite important. And that's why I didn't had the opportunity even to speak Chinese in the office.
Okay, I have one question from me that is interesting me. Like you are learning a lot. Like lifelong learning is like natural for you. So my question is. How do you choose what you learn, and how do you implement what you learn? We learn many things, all of us, every day. So how do you keep this in mind and to use it, to implement it, and not to forget what you have learned, like yesterday, last week, last month, or new skills? How do you keep it?
Understand. Actually. We can distinguish the learning or the development activities according to three different areas. One is this classical learning. These are these classroom trainings, the e-learnings, which you basically choose by yourself. And there it is indeed not easy to get the absolutely best ones, and sometimes you are doing things which you don't use later. However, you are doing something which is preparing you for the future opportunity. So I wouldn't say even these kind of trainings are totally in vain. Yeah? The second area is area where you can participate on the people experiences. To this area belongs measures like, for example, mentoring or coaching, or getting the 360 feedback from your surrounding. Yeah? And this is something which is already going much more into the area which will for sure, or at least with certain probabilities, serve you in your further life. Yeah? So to use this kind, this direction is very important. And the third area is directly related to the job. These are on job developments, and this is, for example, job enlargements, job enrichments, different kinds of facilitation of workshops, and so on. Yeah, so. This is something which is directly on the job, bringing you farther. And if you learn something in this way, you will not forget it, and this will be useful for all the time. So if you take these three different areas, then you can also see for the first one, you are responsible by yourself. For the second one, you need some kind of help from your surrounding and especially from your company. And the third one is totally depending on how is your company supporting the development of the people. I mean, in this respect, I can name Siemens as an example. In the first area of the formal learning, we have a platform with the free trainings. There are really hundreds of video courses which you can take in your spare time, which can bring you farther, but it is depending on you. However, if you finalize this kind of trainings, you get it in your HR file. The second area and the third area especially is very much supported by the company. So this is really very much depending. And I would say everybody who is deciding where to go where to find the next job should take this kind of opportunities in consideration.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. You said you mentioned coaching. So do you have a coach, or do you use coaching skills for your team?
I had a coach for some limited time. This was given me by the company within one development program. This was limited by the time. I had also a mentor, which I chose by myself during my time in China in 2004. And to give you an example, this was you have very different attitudes of the mentors to these activities. Some of them are doing that very formally, and after 3-4 times it's over. But you have I got a mentor which his attitude was that he is getting from the mentees as much as they are getting from him. So he is still now, after 16 years, he is having a contact with his mentees networks. He's now, at the moment, he's a CEO of Airbus Defense. So very, very high position. Despite of that, he's taking the time, and he's really enjoying the events which he's organizing with the mentees. And this is really giving you a lot. So the mentoring, if you decide mentoring, just choose very carefully the mentors.
And how did you do that? Only an additional question: how did you chosen your mentor?
This was a program within of the HR policies where with if you were proposed by a boss, then you came to the list, and there was another list of the potential mentors. And you needed to get a little bit the background information, who is doing this well or not, and then you applied. And if he accepted, then you were in.
Nice. Okay, we have one more question from the chat. A very easy one. If you have any inspirational businessman or businesswoman in Germany, and why? Do you have somebody in mind?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the closest one is the future CEO of Siemens. This is a guy who is very much business oriented. But what I admire on him is that beside of his many business duties and sales activities, he is PhD in physics, and he has been the head of the corporate technology of the area which I'm working for 2 years, and it was incredible how deep he was going into the technology topics. If it was blockchain, if it was Internet of Things, or software architectures, how he was mastering these topics towards the business benefits, and basically forcing the people to move into the area of solutions which will bring the customers the best possible value, and of course the company the biggest benefit. So his name is Roland Busch, and he will take over the CEO function from current CEO in March, I guess.
Nice. So that's nice. I see a very nice bridge to your field. So maybe you can tell us now more what you currently do, because you are working with a concept that's called human-centric design, and trying to build the best environment for the users within the technology you have or you develop. So what is that, and how you do that?
You mentioned user-centric design. This is actually the process how you can create the best possible user experience. User experience is actually something which is which you want to create after the usage of the products or solutions the customer. So this is not only the part of the usability, how to use the product in the best way, but it is a real emotional experience which you have after usage of the products. It has actually 3 different parts. You have certain expectations before you get the product. You are using the product, and then after the usage, you have certain experience with that, which is then leading either to the decision: I want to work with this, I want to buy this, or not. Yeah? And to create the best possible positive user experience, this is becoming very crucial, especially on the background of the digitalization, because there is the example very, very clear. If you have one-click buy, then for sure you can buy much more than if you need to go 3 steps to confirm and reconfirm and reconfirm. So it is about in the first step, it is about the research of the user needs. So what the people expect, what are their needs in context of the usage. Then you are basically this you are doing through the user research methods. Then you are doing the concepts of interactions, how to interact with the product or with the solution. Then you are coming to the stage where you are doing the proposal of the design, of the UI design, and prototyping the products. And then you are coming back to the customer to validate, and this is the agile cycle which you are trying to move further. So why it is important, the user-centric mindset, why in the past many of the developments were done based on the technologies. So the products were evaluated on the base of features. How many features do we have? And you know it, for example, from the video cameras. If you bought some video cameras 5 years ago, then you were totally overwhelmed by the features, the functions which the camera had. You maybe you use only 3 or 5, and that was everything. Yeah. Despite of that, you needed to handle this in a very complicated way. So it is important to see what the customer needs, what are the best ways how he can interact with your products. And because of the huge information flow in the last time, you need to present and visualize the information in the way that basically in the B2B business, the decision makers can do better decisions. So these are topics of user experience and increasing of the importance in the last years.
Thank you very much. So we are out of time, basically. So if you have some last word, last sentence, what you would like to say to these young people who are interested in following their dreams, what they should think about, like what would be your message to them?
The message would be try to be open. Try to be open for learning of the new things, especially for the languages, because the languages are the gates to other cultures. And be open also in regard to other cultures. Try to get the information by yourself. Don't believe too much other people. Try to check all the data, all the information you get by yourself and from more sources, so that you can really orientate in this more and more complex world. I think the assertive and proactive attitude is very, very important.
Okay, so Tomáš, thank you very much. It was very interesting and very short, unfortunately, discussion about quite hard topics. It's not easy to do it, you know, but we all getting to this online world slowly, like used to, and very nice experience from Germany, from China. I see that Jiří Zeman posted in the comments the link about Roland Bush, so you can read about the man who was Tomáš talking about. And now it's the end of the event. So thank you again, Tomáš. I will now move to like ending the conference and say more organizational information about the networking that is coming in 15 minutes.
Okay, so all the best to you.
Thank you, and good luck in your next open in the next opportunities, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So I am alone here again. My glass of coffee or my cup of coffee is empty. I don't know how yours. So what now? If you missed any part, we will have the records available on the Facebook event immediately. And later it will be also in the video section on the Facebook page of Rise and Shine. I would like to thank to all people from the Rise and Shine team, namely to Pavel Filip, who was in the background as a technical officer, let's say, and Jiří Zeman, who was helping him to set up all the technology and testing with the speakers. That all is working. And also to Ren and Josephine and other team members who joined to watch or are helping in the team. If you would like to know what is Rise and Shine, or if you would like to be a part of Rise and Shine team, you can check the Facebook page of Rise and Shine, and you can ask what you would like to do. If you want to help, if you want to attend the next conference, you can watch the web also and check what other events will be. Down below me, you see the website where you can see all the next events that are following. And now we will go. We will have a short break, and in 8:15, it means in 13 minutes, we will start our networking via the link that was sent in the comment section. So it will be used. We will use the Zoom application because we would like to to move you to one team and second team and third team, and to avoid too many people on the same in the same room, because then you can discuss more freely and it's faster and it's not too boring. So that's all from me. Thank you again that you watched. Sorry for short breaks that were during the videos changing and during the and sorry for the short waiting for the next part of the event. Take care, be healthy, be open-minded, and we know that at least Eliška and Jose and Stefan will join the networking, and Tomáš might also. So join the networking, and we can continue there in the discussions and introduce ourselves to others, and maybe we will help each other with some mentoring, or we can get some advices or anything else. Thank you, and have a nice evening if you are not joining the networking. Bye.